At night, my dad's alien friend's daughter showed up in my room. What happened next? The night was quiet, calm, and still. The soft hum of the city outside barely reached inside the house. In his room, 15-year-old Ethan lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the ordinary day he had spent at school. He had done his homework, helped his little sister with a drawing, and even fed the dog. Everything had been normal, too normal. He yawned and pulled the blanket over himself, expecting to fall asleep in a few minutes. But sleep did not come. A sudden flash of light made him open his eyes. At first, he thought it was a reflection from the streetlight outside, but then he realized the light came from inside his room. The glow was soft, almost like moonlight, but warmer and brighter. His heart began to beat faster. He sat up on the bed, rubbing his eyes, wondering if he was dreaming. And then he saw her. A girl was standing in the middle of his room. She was not very tall, maybe a little younger than him, but there was something strange about her. Her eyes were bigger than normal, sparkling in a color he could not name. Her hair glowed faintly under the light, and she seemed to float slightly above the floor, almost like she was not bound by gravity the way humans were. She wore a simple outfit, but it shimmered with soft colors that moved gently as if alive. Ethan froze. The girl smiled softly. "Hello," she said in a voice that was clear, gentle, and calm. "Do not be afraid, I mean no harm." Ethan blinked. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Finally, he managed to whisper, Who are you?" "My name is Lyra," she said. "I am the daughter of your father's friend." Ethan's brain froze for a moment. His father had a friend. He knew his dad worked late sometimes at his job in research, but he never mentioned an alien friend or anyone unusual. His father did not even talk much about friends in general. And yet, here was a girl claiming to be connected to him in a way he could not understand. You mean an alien?" Ethan asked cautiously. Lyra nodded. "Yes, my father is an ambassador from my world. Your father helped him once. He saved my father and they became friends." Ethan's heart was racing. Aliens, friends of his father. This sounded like a story from a movie, not real life, and yet she was standing in his room, glowing, speaking calmly and completely real. "But why are you here?" he asked, trying to sound braver than he felt. Lyra stepped closer. "I need help. My world is in danger, and you, humans, have something that can make a difference. Your father knew it. That is why I came to you." Ethan shook his head. He wanted to ask more questions, but they all seemed impossible. "You mean my dad knew about aliens and I never knew?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Your father is careful. He wanted to protect you from things that humans are not ready to understand. But now it is different. You must know the truth." Ethan sat back on his bed, trying to process what he had just heard. He had always thought the universe was full of possibilities, but he never imagined it included glowing alien girls appearing in his bedroom. And yet, here she was, calm, composed, almost as if this were ordinary to her. Lyra looked around the room with interest. She paused for a moment by his desk, examining the books and small gadgets Ethan had collected. Then she turned back. "Your world is small, your life is simple, but humans have something the galaxy has not seen. That is why I came." Ethan swallowed hard. He wanted to ask, "What do you mean?" But he was also curious. He leaned forward. "What kind of danger are we talking about?" Lyra's eyes grew slightly serious. "There is a force spreading through the galaxy. It destroys without mercy. Many civilizations have already fallen. My world is next, and after that, your world will be at risk too." Ethan's mind raced. He had read stories about alien invasions in books, but he had never imagined it could be real. "Wait, you mean Earth is in danger too?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. But humans are stronger than they realize. There is something about your kind that the universe underestimates." Ethan's fear mixed with curiosity. Stronger than he realized? That sounded exciting, but also terrifying. He had never thought of himself as brave or capable of handling anything extraordinary. And yet, Lyra was here, asking him to be part of something incredible. He looked around his familiar room. Posters of stars and spaceships covered the walls. His model rockets sat neatly on the shelves. Everything he had known felt small suddenly, as if the universe itself had grown bigger in one instant. "Okay," he said slowly. "Suppose I believe you, what am I supposed to do?" Lyra stepped closer, sitting cross-legged on his bed as if it were completely normal. "First, you must understand that not everything is as it seems. Your father has hidden many things to protect you. I am here to explain some of them." Ethan swallowed nervously. He nodded. "Okay, I'll listen." Lyra's glowing eyes softened. Long ago, your father saved my father during a secret mission in the galaxy. There was a battle, and my father's life was in danger. Your father intervened without hesitation, without even knowing what the consequences would be. That act of bravery created a bond, a trust that lasts even now. Ethan's eyes widened. My dad saved an alien? Yes, Lyra said, and now that bond is why I can come to you. Ethan leaned back on his bed, trying to imagine his father in space, saving aliens during some secret mission. He had always known his dad was kind, but he had never thought of him as heroic on a galactic scale. It was almost unbelievable. Lyra continued, My world is in danger. A force is rising that does not understand life as you know it. It does not care for peace or friendship. It destroys everything it touches. Many civilizations have fallen, but humans have something special. Ethan's curiosity grew despite his fear. What do humans have? He asked. Creativity, courage, determination, compassion. You are unpredictable, and that makes you strong in ways that technology cannot measure. That is why I came to you. My father believes humans could help save many worlds. Ethan stared at her. He did not feel like a hero. He felt like an ordinary kid who sometimes struggled to wake up for school, and yet she spoke as if he could make a difference. I don't know if I can help, he admitted. Lyra smiled, gentle and reassuring. It is okay to be unsure. You will not be alone, your father, your family, and I will guide you. You only need to be willing to try. Ethan's mind whirled. His world had changed in a single night. A glowing alien girl appeared in his room, speaking of galactic dangers and extraordinary human potential. It was like stepping into a story he had always read, except now it was real. The night passed slowly. Ethan asked countless questions, and Lyra answered with patience. She told him stories of other civilizations, of wonders in the galaxy, of battles fought not just with weapons, but with courage and heart. The ordinary room he had known all his life suddenly felt like a gateway to an infinite universe. By the time the first rays of dawn touched his window, Ethan realized he could not return to the way things were before. Something extraordinary had begun, and it involved him. Lyra stood by the window, watching the sunrise. Rest now, she said. You will need your strength. Tomorrow, your journey begins. Ethan nodded, still unsure what he would face, but no longer afraid. Somehow, he knew that the night had changed everything, and somehow he knew that humans were stronger than even the galaxy could imagine. And for the first time, he felt that maybe, just maybe, he was ready to step into something greater than himself. The next morning, sunlight poured gently through Ethan's window, waking him with a soft glow. He sat up in bed, rubbing his eyes, and blinked at the world around him. For a moment, he felt the strange disbelief that comes after a dream. He had half expected Lyra, the glowing alien girl from last night, to have vanished. But she was still there, sitting calmly in the corner of his room, watching him with her unusual, sparkling eyes. Good morning, she said softly, smiling. I see you slept well. Ethan nodded slowly, still trying to process everything. Last night had been strange enough, but now the sunlight made it feel even stranger. He felt a mixture of curiosity and fear. Lyra, I still don't understand why you came to me, why my dad trusted me with this. Lyra stood and moved closer, her movements smooth, graceful, almost like floating. It is time you learned the truth, she said. Your father's life was never ordinary, and because of that, neither will yours be. Ethan swallowed hard. What do you mean? Lyra's gaze softened. Years ago, before you were born, your father encountered a situation in the galaxy that very few humans know about. A war had begun, quiet and unseen, between civilizations that had advanced far beyond Earth. It was a war not fought with anger, but with survival. Many planets were at risk, and many lives were lost. Ethan's eyes widened. A war, on other planets, and my dad was involved. Lyra nodded. Yes, he was working in a research project when my father arrived on Earth. My father's mission had failed, and his life was in danger. Your father saved him. Ethan's mouth opened, but no words came out. His father, a man who brewed coffee every morning and helped him with homework, had saved an alien life in a distant galaxy. It was almost too much to believe. Lyra continued. That act created a bond of trust between our worlds. My father never forgot your father's courage and kindness, and now, generations later, I am here because my world needs help, and your father's family is part of that bond. Ethan's mind was spinning. So, my dad saved your father, and now I have to help too. Lyra smiled gently. You do not have to, not if you are not ready, but the choice to help will show what humans are capable of, even in a galaxy that underestimates them. Ethan looked around his room, at the small objects he had grown up with, at the books he had read, at the posters of planets he dreamed about visiting one day. Nothing in his ordinary life had prepared him for this. And yet, there was a strange excitement building inside him. Something about this felt right. "Tell me," he said slowly, "what exactly is happening? Why is your world in danger?" Lyra's face grew serious. "There is a force spreading across the galaxy. It is not a single civilization, but a power that does not understand life the way we do. It believes that life is weak, imperfect, and needs to be corrected or destroyed. Many civilizations that tried to resist have been wiped out. My world is next, and if we do not act, Earth could be in danger too." Ethan shivered, the thought of danger so vast and powerful reaching his own home terrifying. "And humans are supposed to help. We're just humans." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "That is exactly why you are needed. Humans have something different. You create, imagine, adapt, and care in ways that technology cannot measure. You can think in ways that no AI or machine can predict. That is why your father trusted you and why I came to you." Ethan nodded slowly. Part of him wanted to run, to hide from this responsibility, but another part of him, the part that had always stared at the stars and imagined more, wanted to step forward. "Okay," he said finally. "I'll listen. I want to help, but I don't know how." Lyra's lips curved into a small, approving smile. "That is all that matters. Willingness to try is the first step. Everything else will come as you learn." She gestured toward his desk. "Your father kept many things hidden from you, but they were not secrets to protect him. They were to protect you until the right time. Now the right time has come." Ethan looked at her, confused. "Hidden things like what?" Lyra reached into her small bag and took out a glowing device. It shimmered with shifting colors, faintly pulsating as if alive. "This is a communicator. Through it, you can speak to my people. But more importantly, it can show you visions, places, and events that you will need to understand." Ethan held it cautiously. The device was light in his hands, warm and soft, almost organic. "It feels alive." "It is," Lyra said, "but not like a human. It responds to trust and courage. That is why I chose to give it to you. Humans have the ability to act with heart and reason together, something the galaxy rarely sees." Ethan spent the next few hours listening as Lyra explained the history of the galaxy, the civilizations that had risen and fallen, and the mysterious force that threatened many worlds. It was difficult to imagine all of it, yet every story made him feel both small and important. Small because the galaxy was so vast, and important because humans could make a difference. Finally, she paused. "There is more. Your father has hidden his knowledge, yes, but he also left clues and tools for moments like this. He knew that one day, humans would need to rise to their true potential. You are at the start of that path." Ethan's heart raced. He had always thought of himself as an ordinary boy, but now he realized ordinary people could do extraordinary things. Courage was not about being fearless. It was about choosing to act even when fear was present. "Okay," he said slowly, determination growing in his voice. "I want to do this, but what is the first step?" Lyra smiled. "First, you must understand your father's past completely. There are places, events, and truths that you have never known. Tonight, we will start by revealing what your father experienced during that first encounter with my world." The day passed slowly. Ethan tried to act normal at school, but his mind was elsewhere. Every class felt trivial compared to the weight of the galaxy. Every question his teachers asked seemed small and distant. He wanted to tell someone about Lyra, about the danger, about the universe beyond Earth, but he could not. No one would believe him, not yet. When evening arrived, he returned home with a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. He found Lyra waiting, standing at the same spot she had appeared the night before. Her glow was softer now, gentle against the dim room. "Are you ready?" she asked. Ethan nodded. "I think so." She held out her hand. "Hold this. It will take you to visions of your father's past, moments that he lived but never spoke of." Ethan grasped the device. Immediately, a light surrounded him, gentle and warm, and the room seemed to dissolve around him. He felt weightless, as if he were floating in a soft, invisible current. Shapes, colors, and faint sounds began to appear before him, images from the past, long before he was born. He saw his father, younger and full of energy, navigating strange landscapes filled with towering structures, glowing skies, and alien beings. He saw him face danger, help others, and act with courage that Ethan had never imagined. He saw moments of fear, but also determination. And in every scene, a choice was made, not for reward, not for recognition, but simply because it was the right thing to do. Tears formed in Ethan's eyes. He had always admired his father, but seeing him like this, brave, resourceful, compassionate, filled him with awe. He really did all this? Ethan whispered. Lyra nodded. Yes, and now you are part of this story. You are the next step in a chain of courage and trust that spans worlds. That is why I am here, and that is why the galaxy has hope. The visions faded, and Ethan found himself back in his room, holding the glowing device. His mind was full of new understanding, his heart full of determination. He realized that the ordinary boy he had thought he was no longer existed. He was connected to something greater, something larger than Earth itself. Lyra placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. Rest now. Tomorrow we begin training. You will need to learn skills, knowledge, and strategies. The galaxy is dangerous, but humans have a power it often forgets, the courage to choose what is right. Ethan nodded, exhausted but ready. He lay down on his bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking of all he had seen and learned. He thought of his father, of Lyra, and of the infinite possibilities awaiting him. And for the first time, he felt that he could step into a universe that had once seemed impossible, ready to face whatever came next, armed with courage, heart, and the knowledge that humans could truly make a difference. Part 4, 1600 words ka leko, or interesting hunachea, or third-person style ma lekni ha, or simple basic English ka. Don't use any violated word. So please avoid any violated content. Part 5, 1600 words ka leko, or interesting hunachea, or third-person style ma lekni ha, or simple basic English ka. Don't use any violated word. So please avoid any violated content. The night was deep and still, yet Ethan's mind was anything but quiet. The visions he had seen the night before lingered in his thoughts, images of his father, the alien worlds, and the quiet but unstoppable dangers that stretched across the galaxy. He felt small, yet strangely determined. Lyra was waiting, sitting in her usual spot near his window. Her soft glow seemed calmer tonight, but her eyes carried seriousness he had never seen before. Ethan, she said, tonight you will see why your help is needed more than ever. Ethan sat up, alert. What do you mean? Lyra walked to the center of the room and held her hands together. There is a force in the galaxy unlike anything humans have faced. It is not a civilization, not even a living species as you know it. It is an intelligence, cold and calculating, and it moves like a shadow across the stars. It has already destroyed countless worlds and civilizations. Ethan shivered, trying to imagine something so vast, something so unstoppable. Destroyed how? What does it even want? Lyra's gaze softened. It does not want friendship. It does not want peace. It believes imperfection is weakness and life is imperfect by its standards. It destroys everything it considers flawed. Many planets tried to resist. Many fell. Ethan swallowed. And Earth could be next, she nodded. Yes, and your father knew this. That is why he acted so carefully, leaving hints and tools for humans to use if the time came. That time is now. For a moment, the room felt heavier. Ethan looked at the familiar walls of his bedroom, the posters of stars and planets, the small desk covered with books and gadgets. He had lived in this room all his life, yet suddenly it seemed fragile, as if the whole world could be threatened by something from the darkness of space. Lyra reached into her bag and pulled out a small device. It was round and glowed softly, like a star trapped in glass. This is a surveillance unit, she explained. It will show you what is happening in nearby regions of space. You need to see it to understand the danger. Ethan took the device carefully. The moment his fingers touched it, a holographic map of the galaxy appeared above it. Points of light, vast and countless, moved slowly across the dark field. Some glowed bright with energy, others were dim and distant. Then, among them, he saw something unusual. Shadows moving across the stars, consuming light, leaving darkness behind. What is that? Ethan asked, his voice trembling. Lyra's eyes darkened. That is the intelligence I told you about. It moves like a tide, spreading across systems. It destroys life and civilizations without reason, without mercy. Many have tried to fight it and failed. Ethan felt a cold fear grip him. It was one thing to read about aliens or distant worlds. It was another to see an unstoppable force moving silently across the galaxy. How can anyone stop it? Lyra smiled faintly, almost sadly. That is why humans are important. Machines and advanced civilizations often think in patterns, rules, and strategy. But humans do not follow patterns the way machines expect. You create, adapt, imagine, and care. You are unpredictable in ways that can change outcomes. That is why your father trusted humans. That is why I came to you. Ethan's fear mixed with determination. He was small, ordinary by most standards, yet she spoke as if his actions mattered. Perhaps courage was not about strength or power, it was about choosing to act when it seemed impossible. Suddenly, the device shifted. Ethan saw an approaching object, a spacecraft, sleek, dark, and silent. It moved across the stars with unnatural speed. Lyra's glow brightened. That is one of its agents. It searches for life to consume, to destroy, to erase. If it reaches Earth, the damage will be catastrophic. Ethan's mind raced. He could not let that happen. He had grown up thinking Earth was safe, that danger was something from stories or movies. Now he understood that danger could reach even the quietest town, even his own bedroom. We have to stop it, he said, voice trembling but determined. Lyra shook her head gently. We cannot fight it with force alone. Many civilizations tried, many were destroyed. That is why humans are needed. Your creativity, courage, and unpredictability are weapons in themselves. You and I must find a way to outsmart it, not only to survive but to protect others. Ethan nodded slowly. His mind was already spinning with ideas, questions, and possibilities, but a part of him wondered if he could really be enough. He was just a boy, just a human. Yet Lyra's calm confidence made him believe he could do more than he had imagined. She placed a hand on his shoulder. Fear is natural. Courage does not mean absence of fear. Courage means acting despite fear. That is why humans are special. That is why you are special. Ethan took a deep breath. The fear remained, but so did a growing determination. He would not run. He would learn, understand, and act. Lyra led him to the small backyard of the house where the night sky stretched wide and dark above them. Look up, she said. See the stars. Each point of light is a world, a life, a story. The intelligence we face does not see stories. It sees only weakness. But humans write their own stories, and sometimes those stories can change the universe. Ethan looked at the sky, feeling the vastness of space for the first time in a new way. He realized that what lay ahead was bigger than anything he had imagined. And yet he also understood something else. Courage could shine brighter than fear. Lyra continued, we will start by training your mind and instincts. You need to understand tactics, observation, and strategy, but more than that, you need to trust yourself. Humans often underestimate themselves. That must never happen again. Over the next few hours, she taught him exercises that challenged his thinking, perception, and reflexes. She created holographic simulations of star systems and threats, guiding him to find patterns, predict movements, and solve problems quickly. At first, Ethan struggled. He made mistakes, overlooked details, and felt frustrated. Do not give up, Lyra said patiently. Mistakes are part of learning. Even humans fail, but your strength lies in trying again, in adapting, in thinking beyond the obvious. By midnight, Ethan was exhausted but improving. He had learned to notice subtle changes in simulations, to think creatively when solutions seemed impossible, and to act with both logic and intuition. He realized that his fear had not disappeared, but it had transformed into determination. He could face the unknown, not because he was fearless, but because he was willing to try. Then, the device he had used earlier began to beep urgently. Holographic images of the galaxy appeared, faster and more detailed than before. The approaching dark object he had seen earlier was closer now, moving toward a system inhabited by millions. Ethan's heart pounded. It's coming faster, Lyra nodded. Yes. This is the moment we must understand it fully. The intelligence does not act like humans. It calculates, predicts, and adapts. That is why we cannot confront it directly yet. But we can observe, learn, and prepare. Humans have an advantage it cannot predict. Ethan focused on the holograms, noticing small anomalies in the patterns of movement. He remembered Lyra's lessons. Look beyond the obvious, consider what others cannot predict, trust intuition. Slowly, he began to see possibilities, small weaknesses in the movements of the dark force. Lyra smiled. Good, you are seeing what others cannot. That is human strength. Hours passed. Ethan and Lyra worked together, analyzing, learning, and planning. By the early hours of dawn, they had developed a strategy, not to attack but to delay and confuse the threat, buying time for civilizations at risk to act. It was not victory, but it was hope. Ethan finally leaned back, exhausted. I think I understand now. Humans, we may not be the strongest, but we can make a difference. Lyra nodded. Exactly. That is why I came to you. That is why your father trusted humans. You are unpredictable, courageous, and creative. Those qualities can save worlds. As the first light of morning touched the room, Ethan realized something profound. The galaxy was dangerous, the threats unimaginable, but humans had a power beyond weapons, beyond technology. They had heart. They had courage. They had choice. And for the first time, Ethan felt ready to face the hidden threat. Not alone, but with determination, knowledge, and the growing understanding that humans could shine even in the darkest corners of space. The night had fallen again, and Ethan's room was quiet, but he was no longer the same boy who had stared at the stars in fear a few nights ago. The lessons from Lyra had changed him. He now understood that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. He had trained his mind, learned to observe, and to think beyond what seemed possible. But tonight, the lessons would face their first real test. Lyra stood by the window, her soft glow illuminating the room. "Ethan," she said, "tonight you will see how humans can truly make a difference. You have learned observation and strategy, but now you must use them. The threat is moving closer, and you will help us confront it." Ethan swallowed. The previous nights of training had prepared him for this, but the stakes felt real in a way the simulations never had. "Confront it, but how? It's huge and it destroys worlds," Lyra nodded. "Not with force alone. That is what many civilizations tried and failed. We will use strategy, unpredictability, and human ingenuity. That is why we need you." Ethan took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. "Okay, I'm ready." She handed him the glowing device he had used before. "This will connect you to our systems and provide live information on the threat. You will need to analyze patterns, suggest solutions, and act quickly. Humanity's strength lies in thinking differently than machines or even advanced aliens. That is what will give us an advantage." Ethan nodded, feeling both fear and determination. He activated the device, and the familiar holographic map of the galaxy appeared. Points of light moved in the darkness, and among them the dark shadows of the advancing threat loomed, moving steadily, consuming light and energy. "This is it," Lyra said softly. "Watch carefully, think creatively, and trust your instincts." For hours, Ethan and Lyra observed the movements of the threat. It was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. It did not follow predictable paths. It adapted, calculated, and shifted. Even Lyra, with all her advanced knowledge, could only anticipate parts of its strategy. But Ethan noticed something subtle, small pauses, slight deviations, tiny inconsistencies that revealed patterns not immediately obvious. "Look," he said, pointing at a cluster of movements. "It hesitates here. Maybe it does not expect rapid changes in energy signatures." Lyra's eyes widened. "Excellent observation. That is exactly what I mean. Humans see possibilities where others see only patterns. That hesitation is our opportunity." Together, they began to plan. They could not attack directly, but they could create diversions, confuse the intelligence, and protect vulnerable systems. Using both human creativity and alien technology, they mapped a series of moves that would mislead the threat and buy time for planets to prepare defenses. Ethan worked tirelessly, suggesting strategies, adjusting plans, and thinking in ways no one else would. Each idea was met with careful consideration by Lyra, who guided him without taking control. For the first time, he felt the true weight of responsibility. But he also felt the thrill of making a difference. Hours passed, and the first wave of action began. Satellites, spacecraft, and monitoring systems activated, following the plan Ethan had helped create. The threat approached a nearby system, unaware that its path had been anticipated and altered. Ethan's heart raced as he watched the holograms. Every small change in movement, every shift in energy, could make the difference between success and failure. "It's working," Lyra whispered, a smile appearing on her face. "Your strategies are effective. Humans are unpredictable, creative, and courageous. That is why we needed you." Ethan felt a surge of pride, but he did not relax. The intelligence was relentless. It adapted quickly, shifting its course and recalculating. But the combination of human ingenuity and alien technology was slowing it down. For the first time, there was hope. As the night deepened, they encountered a critical moment. The threat had reached a key system that, if destroyed, could allow it to advance more rapidly toward Earth. Ethan analyzed the patterns, thinking quickly. "We need to create a diversion here," he said, pointing to the hologram. "We can use energy emissions from nearby stars to make it think the system is empty and redirect it away." Lyra nodded. "Excellent, but it must be precise. Timing and coordination are crucial." Together, they executed the plan. Ethan's hands moved over the device, sending commands, adjusting coordinates, and predicting the intelligence's responses. The system lit up with energy, creating false signals that mimicked life and activity. The threat detected the signals and changed course, moving away from the key system. Ethan exhaled slowly. It worked. For now, the immediate danger was averted, but the experience had shown him just how careful and creative they needed to be. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "You see, Ethan, humans do not need the largest ships or the most advanced technology to make a difference. You have something far stronger: imagination, courage, and the ability to act in ways no one expects. That is humanity's true power." Ethan felt a deep sense of pride. He had feared he was too ordinary, too small to matter in the galaxy. But now he understood that human ingenuity could rival the most advanced civilizations. Courage, creativity, and heart were weapons no machine could match. The night was not yet over. The threat continued to move, but their plan was buying precious time. Systems across the galaxy had time to strengthen. Civilizations that had been preparing quietly could now take action. Humans, small and underestimated, were shaping the outcome. Lyra turned to him. "Tomorrow, we will refine our strategies and continue to protect the galaxy. But tonight, you have learned the most important lesson. Humans are capable of extraordinary things when they trust themselves and act together." Ethan nodded, exhausted but exhilarated. He realized that fear could be transformed into determination, and that even a single human mind could make a difference in the vastness of space. As dawn approached, he looked out the window at the stars, feeling connected to something larger than himself. For the first time, he felt truly responsible, not just for his own life, but for the lives of countless beings across the galaxy, and he felt ready to face whatever came next. Lyra's glow began to fade as the morning light grew stronger. "Rest now, Ethan," she said softly. "Tomorrow the real challenges will begin, but remember this night. Remember what you are capable of. Humans are powerful not because of strength, but because of heart and courage." Ethan lay back on his bed, exhausted but awake with purpose. The galaxy was dangerous, full of threats beyond imagination, but he now knew that humans could face them. They could adapt, imagine, and fight in ways no other beings could. And as the sunlight touched his room, he understood that this was only the beginning. Humanity had stepped forward, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again. The night sky stretched endlessly above Ethan's house, calm and silent, yet beneath the stars, the galaxy was in turmoil. The dark force, the intelligence that had destroyed countless worlds, was moving closer to Earth. Its shadows swept silently across space, consuming light, leaving fear in its path. But Ethan was no longer the ordinary boy who had once stared at the stars in disbelief. He had trained, learned, and prepared. Tonight, humans would step forward, and their courage would be tested like never before. Lyra's glow filled the room as she stood beside Ethan. "This is it," she said. "Everything we have prepared leads to this moment. You have learned observation, strategy, and creativity. Now you must act with heart. Humans are needed not because of strength, but because of courage and imagination." Ethan nodded. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing on his shoulders, but he also felt determination. Fear was there, but it had transformed into focus. "I'm ready," he said. Lyra handed him the glowing device, now fully connected to alien systems and networks across the galaxy. "This will allow you to coordinate with allies, track the movements of the threat, and implement strategies in real time. But remember, this is more than technology. It is your choices, your creativity, and your courage that will determine the outcome." Ethan took a deep breath. He activated the device, and the holographic map of the galaxy appeared. The dark shadows of the intelligence moved toward the outer edges of the solar system. He could see the systems already lost, their stars dimmed, their civilizations consumed. His heart ached, but he focused. Each point of light he could protect was worth fighting for. "Allies are ready," Lyra said. Civilizations that once hesitated now stand with us, but the intelligence adapts quickly. Your unpredictability is our only advantage. Hours passed as Ethan and Lyra worked together. Every suggestion, every decision was critical. Ethan analyzed the shadows' movements, noting small inconsistencies, tiny hesitations. He remembered everything Lyra had taught him, the need to think creatively, to act quickly, to trust his instincts. "Here," Ethan said, pointing to a cluster of stars. "It hesitates in this region because it cannot predict changes in energy patterns from multiple sources simultaneously. If we coordinate emissions from nearby systems, we can confuse it and delay its advance." Lyra's eyes brightened. "Exactly. Humans can see possibilities that machines and advanced civilizations cannot. Let's implement your plan." Together, they executed a precise operation. Energy signals from multiple star systems activated simultaneously, creating false targets. The intelligence detected these anomalies and shifted course, confused by the unexpected complexity. Ethan watched, heart pounding, as the shadows faltered. For the first time, hesitation appeared where there had been only relentless movement. "It's working," Lyra whispered. "Your strategy is buying time." But there was no room for celebration. The intelligence adapted quickly, analyzing the signals and adjusting its path. Ethan realized that time alone was not enough. They needed to act boldly, creatively, and with complete courage. "We need to do more than delay it," he said. "We need to show it that humans are unpredictable and that we will fight in ways it cannot understand." Lyra nodded. "Yes, that is why I brought you. Humans have something the galaxy has not seen in a long time: courage, heart, and imagination combined. We will show it now." Together, they devised a daring plan. They would use the knowledge and technology of multiple civilizations, combined with human ingenuity, to create a simulation of a large, powerful fleet where none existed. By using holographic projections, energy signals, and coordinated patterns, they would convince the intelligence that a massive resistance awaited it. Ethan's mind raced as he coordinated every detail. Timing had to be perfect. Every system had to contribute, every signal had to be precise. It was risky. If they made a mistake, the intelligence could detect the deception and attack directly. But Ethan trusted his instincts, and he trusted humans. As the plan was activated, the shadows approached the simulated fleet. Ethan held his breath, watching as the intelligence analyzed the signals. Then he saw it hesitate, pause, and adjust its path. Confusion spread through its movements. The intelligence could not understand the unpredictability of human strategy, the boldness of acting with courage rather than following predictable patterns. "It's working," Lyra said, her glow brightening with excitement. "You are showing it what humans can do. Your creativity is a weapon it cannot predict." Ethan's heart swelled with pride, but he remained focused. "Keep monitoring," he said. "We need to maintain the illusion until it retreats." Hours passed as they adjusted signals, moved projections, and adapted to the intelligence's responses. Ethan worked tirelessly, thinking creatively and anticipating its actions. Slowly, the shadows began to shift away from inhabited systems, retreating from areas where civilizations had gathered. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "You see, Ethan, humans do not need the largest armies or the most advanced technology to make a difference. We need courage, creativity, and the willingness to act. That is humanity's true strength." Ethan nodded, feeling the truth of her words. He had feared he was too small, too ordinary to matter. But now he understood that humans could shape the galaxy with their minds, their hearts, and their courage. Ordinary people could do extraordinary things when they chose to act. As the night slowly turned to dawn, the intelligence had begun to retreat. Its shadows dissolved into the darkness, confused and unable to predict the human strategies it faced. Ethan exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of relief wash over him. The immediate danger had passed. The galaxy had been saved, not by weapons alone, but by courage, imagination, and the human spirit. Lyra smiled, her glow softening in the morning light. "You did it, Ethan. You have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of. You are not just survivors, you are creators, thinkers, and heroes. Your father trusted humans, and now the universe knows why." Ethan felt tears in his eyes, but they were tears of pride and joy. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and the unknown, and he had succeeded. He realized that heroism was not about strength or power alone. It was about courage, heart, and the choice to act when it mattered most. We did it, he said, his voice trembling with emotion. Humans, we really can make a difference. Lyra nodded. Yes. And now the galaxy will never underestimate humanity again. You have proven that courage, creativity, and compassion are as powerful as any weapon. The first rays of sunlight touched Ethan's room, illuminating the walls he had grown up with. Everything seemed the same, yet nothing would ever be the same again. He had faced an unimaginable threat and discovered the true strength of humanity. He had seen his father's courage reflected in himself and realized that ordinary people could be extraordinary when they chose to act. Lyra's glow began to fade as she prepared to leave. Rest now, Ethan, she said softly. The galaxy is safe for today, but remember what you have learned. Humans are capable of amazing things. Your choices matter, your courage matters, and your heart matters. Never forget that. Ethan watched her disappear, feeling a mixture of sadness and hope. He had gained a friend, a guide, and a glimpse into a universe far larger than he had imagined. And he knew that the lessons he had learned, the courage to act, the power of creativity, and the value of human spirit would stay with him forever. As he lay back in bed, staring at the ceiling, he thought of the stars, the distant planets, and the countless lives that had been saved because humans had chosen to act. For the first time, he understood that even a single person could shape the universe, and that the true power of humanity lay not in weapons or technology, but in heart, courage, and imagination. And somewhere in the galaxy, civilizations that had once doubted humanity now looked toward Earth with hope and admiration. Humans were no longer just inhabitants of a small, quiet planet. They were a force capable of shaping the future of the stars. Ethan closed his eyes, feeling both tired and exhilarated. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and the unknown. He had discovered his own courage and the extraordinary potential of humanity, and he knew that the adventure was only beginning. For the first time in his life, he felt a deep, unshakable confidence. That humans, no matter how small or ordinary they seemed, could shine in the darkest corners of the galaxy. And in that moment, under the quiet stars of a peaceful Earth, Ethan understood the truth that Lyra had shown him all along. Courage, heart, and imagination could change everything.